Welcome to the Seniors Rock Show, presented by the Law Office of Michael Robinson, PC, on News Radio, Wham 1180. The Seniors Rock Show, a lively weekly discussion shedding a bright light on aging with fun, entertainment, and important info for all adults. Join in with your comments or questions. Call or text 222-1180 or 1-800-295-1180. Now from the News Radio Wham 1180 studio in downtown Rochester, here's your host, Joanna Palvino.
Hello and Happy New Year. I'm Joanna Palvino, your host, and I am here with Mike Robinson. He is here with me every week. He's my co-host, and actually he's also a sponsor of the show, so I'm really happy about that too. And I'd like to say right out of the chute, Happy New Year, Mike.
Happy New Year, Joanna, and Happy New Year to everyone listening. 2022.
Yeah, it's exciting, right? I think everyone's looking forward to a new year this year.
Boy, isn't that the truth?
Mm-hmm. And I'm excited about the year ahead and about more guests and more listeners and all the people that we will meet along the way here on the show. And today, actually, we have someone who's a friend of mine and a friend of all area seniors. He's been around for a long time working for the county, and his name is Steve Newcomb. He is now the director of the Monroe County Office for the Aging, and he's joining us this hour, so stick around for that. He's going to update us on what's happening in the senior centers and in the county, the kinds of programs that can support folks that are getting older, and we'll find out the ages and all those good things that people ask about senior centers. And I know they have some new programs, too, so that's exciting. And Mike, I am so glad that you're here with us, ringing in the new year. It was a year in June, and now we're going into 2022. So here we go.
It's been fun, and yeah, I'm looking forward to another year as well. And of course, we just recapped 2021, the week after Christmas, and I want to mention that my mom and dad this past week celebrated their 63rd wedding anniversary.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Indeed.
To Mr. and Mrs. Robinson.
Indeed. So that was fun. And just, it's this time of year is always a time of reflection for folks, whether it's looking back at the previous year or looking ahead to what we might want to be doing in 2022. And it's interesting because this week's question touches on that theme, at least for me. And also it was fun. So the listener who wrote in, Peggy from Dundee, there's a reminder of our 50,000 watt broadcasting power.
And I have to say, she sounds Scottish.
Indeed. Well, Dundee is the home of the Scots. So yeah. So anyway, Joanna, Peggy wrote in an interesting question. She said, Mike, I've heard you on the show. I've attended one of your webinars, and you really seem to enjoy estate planning. What is it that you enjoy the most about what you do? And so I thought that was a great question because, it causes me to reflect a little bit. So, Peggy, first of all, I want to acknowledge that I'm very aware at how fortunate I am to be able to make a living doing something that I enjoy. And I'm very grateful for that. But what is it that I enjoy? One of the things is it can be challenging to take the different tools of estate planning and apply them to a particular family's circumstance. That it's a puzzle sometimes, and I enjoy that challenge. And along those same lines, it also offers an opportunity for some creativity, because sometimes we're confronted with a situation where you have to think outside the box a little bit and maybe take some tools or strategies that normally apply in other situations and now apply them in a new situation to get the result that a particular client or family is looking for. So that I enjoy. I enjoy being able to actually see in a very concrete way how it is that we're helping people, especially when it comes to protecting assets from nursing home expense and that sort of thing. But, the other thing, Joanna, that I really enjoy about what I do is I really enjoy hearing people's stories. And everyone has a story. And sometimes those stories are inspiring. Sometimes those stories are humbling. Sometimes they just offer a new and different perspective for me, and that's always great to have those lessons. And one lesson in particular that I have learned in listening to thousands of people's stories, we're all pretty much the same. You know, we have our different personal circumstances, perhaps our different financial circumstances, our different family circumstances. But when it comes down to it, we all have the same basic hopes and dreams for ourselves and our loved ones. We all want to feel that we matter. We all want to feel that we belong to something that's bigger than ourselves. And so that's a lesson that I'm particularly grateful for, especially these days, you know, when we're all going through some pretty hard times. And it's so easy oftentimes to just focus on oneself. But it's helpful to remember that, you know, that everybody's going through the same thing. It helps take the edge off. And so I think that's a good lesson as well. So, Peggy, you know, hey, thanks for the question. It was a good question, and it definitely made me reflect a little bit on just how fortunate I am.
Mike, you know, it's really obvious that you enjoy what you do, and I think anybody is very fortunate to have a career where they not only enjoy what they do, but they hear stories and they really get to connect with other humans. And that's the kind of job you have. We have the same kind of thing here on the radio station, but we don't really get to see them. But we do get to talk to them. And I think it's cool that people are sending these questions to you every week through the website. So folks, keep those coming. And if you would like to see Mike present, you really will connect with him, and he's really kind of fun, too. So I think there's another webinar coming up, Mike, right? When's that? The 19th, was it?
Correct. We have another one Wednesday, January 19, 2 p.m. The webinars are free, but you do need to register. So you can either go online at www.mrobinsonlaw.com, or you can call the office at 374-5210. You know, we also, Joanna, have recorded the webinar because I know for some people it doesn't fit with their schedule to make a live webinar. So if you'd like, especially with family in town, reach out to the office. We can send you a link so that you can view the webinar at your convenience. That's another option that's available.
Oh, that's terrific. So it's basically it's a private showing, if you will, huh?
There you go. Mm-hmm. The only thing is there's no live question and answer session, of course, with the recorded one. But still, for some people, because of their schedules, that's a good option.
Yes, excellent. And folks, I recommend it all the time. You should go to a webinar. If you already have an estate plan and you haven't looked at it in a long time, it's a great reminder for those things to review. And it's a great way to connect with your family and talk about things that sometimes are difficult to talk about. Mike makes it easy. And the stories he tells, as he said earlier, will really help you to think about your situation. And you can ask questions or not, as he said. And again, the 19th, if you would like to do that. And, you know, we're talking about careers here. There's also a lot of joy from volunteering. And I know this time of year, that's a big thing, too. And a lot of folks are looking for volunteers like Lifespan and so many organizations. So if you are looking for something to do and you want to enjoy something, that is a great option. And it looks like we're going to break here. So I'm going to say, hold on, please. We'll be right back on News Radio WHAM 1180. Welcome back to the Seniors Rock Show. I am Joanna, your host, here with Mike Robinson, my co-host and your co-host. And also we have a guest today, and his name is Steve Newcomb. Steve is the director of the Monroe County Office for the Aging. He has been working there for quite some time, Mike.
Yes, and we're grateful to have Steve on the Seniors Rock Show today. Like Steve, we share a passion for everything elders. Steve, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you very much, Mike, and Happy New Year to you guys.
Thanks, and to you as well.
Happy New Year.
Steve, how are senior centers doing during the pandemic?
Well, yeah, I think you got to go back to when the initial pandemic arose, which was a year last March. So when that occurred, we closed all the senior nutrition programs out of safety, obviously. And overnight, it seemed like our office became a food broker because older adults were not getting out of the house and had certain, needs to be met. And primarily one of them was food. So we collaborated with Lifespan and Medical Motor Service and Food Link, as well as ABBI Goodwill. And overnight, we created a system to deliver food for folks that were unable to access food, in addition to the senior center participants who weren't able to attend the senior center. So that went on for a good two and a half months until we got things a little bit settled. And the current situation is also unsettled, as you guys are well aware, with the Omicron variant. But things are going okay at the centers, but it's not what it was 2.5 years ago, and I don't think it ever will be the same in the future.
Right. Steve, what, in addition to the food, and by the way, you pivoted so quickly to that, and I know it meant a lot to seniors in the community. What other programs are currently being offered through the Office for the Aging?
Before you answer that, though, I have a quick question to go back to the food there, Steve. I understand there's something new, and are some of the centers allowing folks to come like curbside and pick up lunch? Is that happening?
Yeah. Yes. Do you want me to answer that one?
Yeah. I think you should, because that's important, especially for folks out there that are hungry and they're maybe alone.
Right. So after 2.5 months of this emergency food delivery with the centers, some of the coordinators at the centers really wanting to open their sites, but we were still unsure of the safety of that. We created a grab-and-go meal program, and basically it was a virtual drive-through meal like you would get at any fast food restaurant. They would drive through the center. The coordinators were able to check on these folks as they came up and were provided a grab-and-go meal to take home. There were some centers offered pantry goods for people that lack food.
Are they still doing it, Steve? Are some of them still doing it? Yeah.
Yes.
And how do you sign up?
Well, we feel we created a monster with the grab and go, okay, because it's so popular. It isn't in sync with the traditional Congress meal program, but as long as we're serving people, that's the main thing. Mm-hmm. And a way to sign up is to go on the MonroeCounty.gov website, go to Office for the Aging, and there's a list of senior centers with what days they serve lunch.
Great.
That'd be your best way.
Great, because I was really surprised. I remember a couple of years ago when I went into one of the senior centers, and there were quite a few people in there enjoying their lunch and doing a lot of really nice socializing. So I was worried about that. So I think that grab and go is really cool. And just to clarify, these senior centers that we're talking about, they're all within Monroe County, correct?
They're all within Monroe County. Now there's a couple of handful of senior centers in Monroe County that do not partake in the senior nutrition program through the Office for the Aging. And that's very important because in order for us to engage with the senior center, a meal program needs to be a component of that. Along with, those centers also get case management services, transportation, and are provided funding for recreation and education. But it's still, the centers are still kind of in this suspended animation of just like probably half the world is as far as COVID goes. So we're trying to make the best of it.
And do you have to live, to go, like, for example, to the Greece Senior Center, do you have to live in Greece? Or can you come from Arundecoit?
Right. Okay. By federal statute, Older Americans Act, anybody can go to any senior center that has a senior nutrition program and grab a meal. I could go out to Wayne County if I wanted to have a senior center nutrition lunch meal. On the other hand, some community centers have programming, and it's their call as to whether they want to charge for programming to folks that do not reside in that municipality. So if you're not, for some centers, not all, if you're not a resident of that town, you may need to pay some dollars to access some of their activities.
I see. So there's probably a nominal fee or something.
Right, nominal fee. There are also activities that are specific to the senior centers that a person would not have to pay for, even if they weren't part of that town. But when it comes to, larger programming and programming that is funded through the town, that's where the buck stops, and you need to be a town resident.
Great. And Steve, what other programs, not only what other programs is the county offering for seniors, but how are they offering them within the context of the pandemic?
It's a great question, Mike. The Office for the Aging, we have approximately 45 contracts with various nonprofit agencies in the community. A little known fact is we're the primary funder of Meals on Wheels. That's run through University of Rochester Home Care. Speaking of which, their meal count, because of more older adults during the pandemic staying home, they increased their daily deliveries by 60% in the past 2 years. That's a significant amount of money, but we feel that it's well put in a well place for people that can maintain their independence by getting a meal delivered to them, as well as when they're delivered, that volunteer will check on that person. But as far as like some of the programs in the typical fashion that we fund is Law New York, and that's for low income people of color for legal services. We have case management services run through Catholic Family Center. That's an ISEP program. And I'm not going to bore you with the acronyms of any of these things, but if you'd like me to, I will. That's more of that's a home care program that takes care of frail older adults that lack family in the area and need help with their activities of daily living. And quite a few others. A social adult day program through Rochester Regional. We have a couple others. We have a wellness program. In fact, the wellness program that we fund at Lifespan,
Hey, Steve,
turned over into.
I'm going to ask you to hold that thought because we're going to go to break here, but we'll talk about the wellness program. And also, there's a really cool program for transportation that I want you to talk about as far as the COVID vaccines go. So right now we have to go, but we're talking to Steve Newcomb. He's the director of the Monroe County Office for the Aging. You're listening to Seniors Rock, and we'll be right back on News Radio Wham 1180.
The law office of Michael Robinson, PC, has helped families protect their hard-earned wealth from nursing home expense, probate, and taxes. Visit us online to register for our free educational webinar to learn how you can protect you and your family. mrobinsonlaw.com.
As we get ready to celebrate the holidays, Pool Senior Living wants to remind families that their brand new Victor Views assisted living home is safe, modern, and comfortable. A 10-room boutique-style community, Victor Views allows for the attention and personalized care your loved one deserves. Not home-like, a real home. Schedule a tour today and see the difference yourself. Victor Views Assisted Living. Go to poolseniorliving.com. That's POOLE, seniorliving.com. Welcome back to the Seniors Rock Show. We are here today with Mike Robinson. He's here every week. He's my co-host. And I'm Joanna, your host. And Steve Newcomb is here with us today. And he is telling us what's happening at the county level in the senior centers. And that's Monroe County, although every county has senior centers. So don't worry if you're not in Monroe County. You can always check what's happening in your own county and find out. And for today, though, it'll give you a good idea of the things that they do. And Steve's the director of the Monroe County Office for the Aging, and he knows what's happening. So we're so happy to have you here today, Steve. And we're going to go back to talking about the programs, and let's pick it up where we left off there.
Yeah, I was mentioning the wellness programs that we fund Lifespan to provide. These come in, there's Tai Chi, there's chronic disease self-management, there's a Matter of Balance falls prevention program. So these programs go on Zoom, and now folks are more and more comfortable using Zoom to access programming. So their switch to digital programming has been relatively successful, although they're not reaching the hard to serve or the underserved that lack the means of digital equipment. So that's one concern that we have as an office that we are addressing separately. Also wanted to mention a free transportation service. And when I say free, it's free to the consumer. The Office for the Aging funds this transportation service, and it's for anybody age 60 and over that is in need of a COVID-related service, whether it's a test, whether it's a booster, any COVID-related issues. If you're age 60 plus, you may access this free transportation to your healthcare provider by calling New York Connects, and that number is 325-2800, or you can simply call 211. And they will tell them your situation, and they will line you up with some transportation if you have that need for any COVID-related issues. So we're really excited that we're able to provide that service.
So, Steve, I know Mike has mentioned New York Connect several times. Tell us about the other programs they have while we're on that.
So New York Connects is our point of entry for people 60 and over, their family caregivers, and people any age with disabilities. That's basically our, that's the open door where you can call, and they have an array of services that you could be referred to. And I would suggest about 60% of those services fall under the Office for the Aging. So if you call New York Connect 325-2800, you have you're in your upper 70s, you live alone, all of a sudden you don't have any heat. Well, that's the situation that, especially with the winter now here, that would be addressed expediently. New York Connects would refer that to the heat specialist and or even our office. We have a staff member that is excellent in diagnosing issues with houses that lack heat and gathering funds through different agencies in order to help that person out. So just think of 325-2800 as that's the catch-all for all aging and adult services in Rochester, including people with disabilities of any age. And to that point, the Office for the Aging funds the New York Connects program. And along with that is we have 4 long-term care council meetings a year that's comprised of a lot of community members, people in the field, hospitals, nursing homes, etc. The group meets 4 times a year, approximately 18 members, and that's where the Office for the Aging garners feedback for how we're doing out there, and maybe they help identify gaps in services that we may be able to fill.
Excellent.
So it's a very valuable program to our community.
It is. And I'm going to mention now, too, I think it's good timing that you are a member of GRAPE as well. That's the Greater Rochester Area Partnership for the Elderly, that Mike and I are both members of as well. And Steve is on the Advocacy Committee. And that's another place. In February, we will be talking to legislators virtually and telling them what we need. So there's a lot of good work going out there for folks, in the 60-plus community and their families. Right, Steve?
There certainly is, and GRAPE is an excellent organization because it encompasses all areas of aging services, from housing, to personal care. And this advocacy event in February, we're going to, allow our voices to be heard to some of the powers that be in New York State in order to advocate for services for older adults that are in need. So it's should be pretty exciting, and we're planning for it right now. So
excellent. That's it. February 4th, I believe. It's a Friday morning, and if you go to grapeelder.org, you can get more information about that. And I will be emceeing it, so you'll hear me again if you're interested in finding out what we are presenting to the legislators. And this is all good work, volunteer work. And Steve, you do a lot out there. I know there's another initiative called Age-Friendly Communities. Can you tell us about that?
Right. That's a movement across the world, but also namely in USA. It's to make communities more age friendly for people that are living longer, older adults. We want our older adults to remain in Monroe County. They volunteer, they pay their taxes, they add to the economy. So let's make this area a friendlier place for older adults. And some of those examples are maybe more park benches on trails or larger street signs, so they have an easier time navigating in the evening.
Or shops in their area, right? So they can walk to the shops.
Walking is very important. Sidewalks, that's one of the ones we deal with that we haven't cracked that nut on how to have city sidewalks shoveled so that there isn't any ice when folks want to take a walk. We we haven't solved that problem yet, but we're working on it, and all these initiatives are to allow folks that are older to feel comfortable as they age in Monroe County.
And, this, I believe what I know about age-friendly communities is that it isn't just for the elderly, it's for everyone. And so, it's for young families that have children. And it's, I guess, to try to get away from that, the suburban spread thing. And we've gotten so spread out that, it's a disconnect for services, for shops, for, retail, for businesses. There's all kinds of things affected by this. So I think it's awesome. I think it's a national initiative that we should all know about here and, do what we can to help. And
right. And some of those initiatives within the livable community speak to people for all ages.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're right on you're right on point mentioning that.
Thank you, Steve. And if you just tuned in, this is Steve Newcomb. He is the director of the Monroe County Office for the Aging. And we're going to go to break here now, but I'm going to ask him to hold on for a minute, and you can help us close out the first show of the year, Steve. Stay right there.
Nice. Thank you.
Effortlessly healthy meals are fresh, fully prepared, ready to eat, and hand-delivered. As a senior, I appreciate the 10% discount, and I love the never-frozen big variety of heart-healthy meals I get to choose from each week. Effortlessly Healthy is locally owned. Meals are perfect to send to a senior loved one. Just heat and eat. Effortlessly Healthy, delicious food, convenience, and a 10% senior discount. Stay healthy, stay happy, and stay home. ehmeals.com, ehmeals.com, 585-254-0078.
The holiday season is a natural time for families to gather together, which also makes it a natural time to talk about your estate plan with your loved ones. This holiday season, give the gift of peace of mind. At the Law Office of Michael Robinson, we'll show you how easy it is to create a custom-crafted estate plan that gives you and your loved ones peace of mind now and into the future. Visit us at mrobinsonlaw.com. That's mrobinsonlaw.com.
Welcome back to the Seniors Rock Show. We're here with Steve Newcomb. He's the director of the Monroe County Office for the Aging, a very important organization for us here in Monroe County. And also, again, if you're not in Monroe County, because we do reach Western New York and the Finger Lakes, check out your county, because there's lots of services that you may be able to use or maybe share with somebody that's in, a loved one or a neighbor that needs some help. So, Steve, thank you again for joining us today. Is there anything we didn't mention yet that you'd like to say before you go?
The one thing I just want to mention real quick is the Monroe County Office for the Aging received American Rescue Plan Act dollars. And we're pretty excited about this. It's a one-time allocation. And so right now we're in the planning stages of trying to fill gaps with these dollars and perhaps create programs that are self-sustainable so that they don't need the funding once this funding runs out. But you look forward to more information on the American Rescue Plan Act from the Office for the Aging. So that's pretty exciting. And I also want to reiterate that there's free transportation to anybody that is in need of a COVID test, a booster shot, anything COVID related, by calling New York Connects at 325-2800 or 211. And
Excellent.
Other than that, I just want to thank you guys for having this show on a population that really is important to our community as a whole. And I just want to thank you guys for that.
Oh, that's so nice.
Well,
thank you. Thank you, Stephen. Happy New Year to you. Thanks again. We'll have
Happy
you
New
back.
Year.
Yeah, you'll have to keep us, keep in touch and let us know what's happening, especially if there's new programs. We'll be happy to mention them for you.
I will keep you posted.
Excellent. All right. Enjoy the rest of your day, and tell folks how they can get a hold of you, will you, please?
I'm going to give you the number of our general call-in at the Office for the Aging. It's 753-6280. And that's all you need to do is ask for Steve Newcomb, and I'd be happy to chat with you.
Excellent. Monroe County Office for the Aging, thank you for your work, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Bye, Steve.
You know, Joanna, it was so great to have Steve on. I think that the local offices for the aging, in Monroe County, other counties, are an underutilized resource, and they're really a fabulous resource for not only for seniors but for their caregivers, just to understand what's out there and what's available to people. You're right, Mike. Folks do underutilize a lot of the services we have here.
And if you don't know how to find them, you can go online. And if you don't have access to the internet, then ask someone. Don't be afraid to ask for help, because that's there's a lot of it out there, and there's a lot of folks working on your behalf. So I also wanted to mention that coming up this year, we're going to talk about some of the things about sustainability, because that's been a buzzword lately. And I heard some information last week on recycling that surprised me. I think I've been recycling things I wasn't supposed to. So we're going to have those folks on this year, Mike, and some other really interesting things. We're going to talk about pets a little bit more. We've got some of that coming up. I know you work with pets too, right? I mean, what do you do? Tell folks what you do for that.
Yeah, well, we actually create what are called pet trusts. Many, especially older folks, have pets that are frankly going to outlive them, and they're concerned about making sure that those pets are properly cared for. That there are financial resources available for that care, and there actually are legal means to do that.
Well, that's good news, because I think everybody I know has a pet, that's for sure. And I enjoy looking at the pictures. I'm thinking about Fitz right now from Rock Fox, because he is a very cute dog that they adopted, I think, from Puerto Rico. And he's got quite the shenanigans, and he's always showing them. And speaking of they're really funny. And that's one of the things I love about Facebook. Is the animal pictures. I mean, call me crazy, but that's what I enjoy. But anyway, Rock Fox, that's something that's underutilized sometimes too. And there's a wonderful recording studio here, folks. If you want to do a podcast, Rock Fox in Bushnell's Basin has it all going on, and Fitz will help you through that. He can actually offer you some lessons as well. So everybody has something to say. If you wanted to have a podcast, Rock Fox in Bushnell's Basin is the place to go. Mike, isn't it cool over there? I love it here.
It is, and the legacy recordings are just tremendous in terms of capturing memories and stories, as we talked about at the beginning of the show. Great service, and so Rock Fox.
Yeah, the legacy cast, awesome. If you want to tell your family story, or someone special has something to talk about, get it down on film, or at least recording. He's got a recording option now too, just if you wanted to do it that way. So anyway, Rock Fox, can't say enough about it. Can't say enough about you, Mike, for being with me all year and preparing for the show, and for answering people's questions about estate planning and elder law, because as I said earlier, most people don't look at this stuff or talk about it until it's time. So I guarantee you at some point in your life, you're going to have to know. So folks, I hope that you'll come back next week, next Saturday. Mike, want to say anything about the new year coming up?
Just Happy New Year, everyone. As always, be well and be kind.
Absolutely. And good health and happiness to all of you out there. Happy New Year. And I hope it's a wonderful one. I hope that you are getting all of your wishes come true. And if you don't get them, there's a reason, right? And I also want to remind everyone that young and old are just words. And don't ever forget, seniors rock.